this campaign trail and I tried to follow the script. A lot of campaign experts thought that they would tell us the best way that we should walk, talk, and act to win an election and get votes. For those of you who know me, it just didn't feel right. And so I got on the trail and I began to talk about out loud. I didn't hide from it because I wouldn't allow anybody else to attempt to weaponize my humble beginnings against me. So before they could do it, I made sure that I told you that I was born to a single teenage mother, that I was raised by my grandparents, that my grandmother collected welfare and subsidized food to take care of me. And when I talked about the welfare, they said, well, what do you mean? Did you get public assistance? And did you have the credit card? And I said I had colored money in books. I said I took purple 20s, green 10s, and brown dollars to pick well. I told folks out loud about that 5-pound block of cheese that never sliced as thin as we wanted it to, but it made the best macaroni and cheese in the whole wide world. I said it out loud because I needed people to know that my real life, lived experience was closest to the people who are feeling the most pain right now in our city. And my message to Philadelphians from all walks of life was that if they would just give me the opportunity, that I would put to great use everything inside of me, my lived life experience, my professional experience, my academic preparation, that I would put all of it to great use to work with you all to make Philadelphia the safest, cleanest, greenest big city in the nation with economic opportunity for all. And listen, Philadelphia, this is important what I'm about to say. When I delivered the message, the first time they heard me, maybe I was with Vincent Hughes in West Philadelphia, but it was a black audience. And what they thought was going to happen was that when Driscoll and Dillon took me to the Northeast to a ward meeting, they thought that the message was going to change. This is what I publicly affirm to each of you. Mary Tasco, you should remember this line. You taught me this. When it comes time for us to have tough discussions about tough issues, guess what we won't do? We won't tiptoe through the tulips. We don't care about the race, the class, the socioeconomic status, the zip code, the religion, the sexual orientation, the identity. No matter where we went, our message stayed the same. And guess what I learned during that time, Philadelphia? That people were yearning for authenticity. They were yearning to hear somebody, to speak to them like a regular person. They were learning to do what we learned in the Baptist Baptist church, you all will remember it. Sometimes when the preacher is speaking, you'll hear somebody in the congregation say, make it plain.
Make it plain.
When I was on the campaign trail, I learned that Philadelphians wanted someone to make it plain. And when I shared that message, I made sure I let them know how complex the issues were. That there was no one single thing that we could do to accomplish all of those goals, but that it would take local, state, federal government, the private sector, and the philanthropic community all working together in order to make it happen. And guess what? It happened. People have talked a lot about the breaking of glass ceilings. But my mind, I haven't been able to wrap my mind around that concept. I am much rather thinking about the women and the men in my life who've been a part of my village, who've laid concrete pavers to give me a vehicle to walk through. I'm here with my boss lady, Marion Tasco. I'm thinking about Gussie Clark. I'm thinking about Joan Krajewski and Ann Verner. I'm thinking about Roxanne Jones. I saw Shirley Kitchen. Listen, I was going to get coffee. That's how they trained me, right? But when you're there, you're like a sponge. And if you're willing to learn and take advantage of opportunities that are available to you, my life should be a textbook case study on how you turn pain into power. So this is real. This is what we have to do. Because people are expecting me, and I've said this out loud too. I am not Superwoman. I know we make it look easy. That's because I have a super great village. Miss Gladys, who's here. Wave your hand, Miss Gladys. Where's God, Mommy Tanyelle? And look, this was another thing. Sugar, come on over here. Come on over here, Sugar. I gotta do this out loud too. My former husband and I are divorced. Guess what? Guess what? We work hard to co-parent this prince. We co-parent this prince. Guess what? Where's Sincere? Sincere is going to say, no, she's not going to tell everybody. Sincere got the call after the first video went out from the experts in D.C. Where's Ryan Boyd? The experts in D.C. And they said, well, Sincere, she's not going to have a chance. She can't tell people that she's a single mama. Black women are just not going to accept that. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Being your authentic self. I talk to black women, white women, Latino women, Asian women. I talk to men who said, and guess what the men would say that warmed my spirit? Thank you for publicly affirming that two adults can acknowledge that it may not have worked out, but that you can still work together to love and raise your child. Men, say, Cherelle, thank you. This is what we're going to make sure that we do. We're going to make sure that we put people on the path to self-sufficiency. You heard me talk about making our public health and safety our #1 priority. Listen, I don't apologize about that. We are going to use every legal tool that is in the toolbook to make this city safe. Now listen, you got to know this. As we work in a collaborative way, collaborative way. You all heard me. I used the term so much, the press started making fun of me every time I said intergovernmental cooperation. I said it so much. Local, state, federal government. Any agency that can add value in helping us make public health and safety the #1 priority. If we make decisions, there are going to be some people who are not going to like them. There are going to be some people who are going to say some things that are not nice. Listen, I need you all to know that we are prepared. That we know we have to make these tough decisions. But when you hear about people altering their lives and moving where their favorite chair is in their living room because they are afraid, that tells us that we have a challenge. You won't be able to go in the store and steal $499 worth of merchandise and just think that it's okay. We have to have a sense of order in our city. While we're doing that, let's understand this. 0 tolerance for any misuse and/or abuse of authority by our law enforcement officers. Yes, they have to be there as guardians and not warriors. And what's the first step you take in order to make that happen? You make sure that you select a police commissioner who understands cultural competency, emotional intelligence, a leader who's not afraid to make tough decisions even though they're not going to be popular. It starts with that leader who works in conjunction with other departments in the city of Philadelphia, but he or she would be responsible for crafting the plan to reduce crime here in the city of Philadelphia. And although some people, Marion Tasco, said that your daughter, well, she's taking a vacation and she's off the trail. I'm sorry that everything that we do you can't see on social media. Before we walked in, Langston, you want to tell everybody who you just talked to? You know? It's okay. We just talked to President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. We just told them that this is an election the people have chosen, and Lord knows I'm proud, but Philadelphia cannot be successful without an immense amount of support from the White House and our Congress. We need the support. Both of them said that they are prepared and they are ready. We were with our governor. We have our Speaker, Joanna McClinton. Speaker McClinton, somebody just mentioned to me that our appropriations chairman, Jordan Harris, Jordan Harris, can you read? So I just want you to understand our appropriations, I call him the boss with the hot sauce, Vincent Hughes. State Senator Sharif Street, our Democratic Party. It's important for me to acknowledge their presence, because if anybody, and I needed to say this for the record because I think I see some veterans in the room. I'm talking about veterans of politics. If anybody thinks that they're going to use those antiquated, outdated, territorial, tribal warfare strategies to divide and conquer us, it's not just not going to work, but whenever I see it, I need you to know I'm going to call it out and say it out loud. I really am. That doesn't mean it's going to be kumbaya all the time. That means we make tough decisions, but we find a way to sit down at a table and hammer out compromises. Councilmember Kenyatta Johnson, are you here? Are you here, Councilmember? I think you should come stand next to me while I'm talking about this part. Councilmember Johnson and we've talked with, I talked with 15 members of council. Two, I have not, we're waiting for the results of the election, but we're going to talk with and we're going to work with everybody. But I want to be very clear to affirm to you, Councilmember Kenyatta Johnson and I have talked. I know it makes for a good theater, I will call it, to see a city council and a mayor not get together, not be able to move this city forward by working in a collaborative way. But if it's God's will, we are not going to use that as our strategy. We will not let divide and conquer be the tool that people use to stop us from working together. So it is my hope, it is so great to see each of you, but it is my hope tonight that by working together and working to put people on the path to self-sufficiency, we remove any explanation that anyone can give about why they can't succeed. We want to make access to home ownership affordable for Philadelphians, right? We don't want people house poor, spending more than 30% of their income on rent. We want all of our children in a 21st century modern school building with the highest academic achievement. If anybody is interested in talking to me about public education and you're trying to pit traditional publics against charters, don't do it. I'm not the person to have that conversation with. We are going to find a way to move educational opportunities for our young people forward, and I'm a certified secondary English teacher by profession, but we're going to do it for all of our children. Finally, the biggest part for me, I talked about year-round public education. Immediately when I said it, the naysayers said, well, what are you going to do? Keep children in classrooms all day long without air and no heating? I just thought to myself, wow, how narrow-minded. Access to year-round education is what Senator Hughes was talking about when he called it the summer slide. Do you remember you had those conversations? I'm sorry to tell you today, but not all of the young people in the school district of Philadelphia are in the Hamptons in the summer.
Hello, somebody.
Or at the Vineyard. Maybe you thought they were there, but they are not. But for those who are being raised, particularly in circumstances like mine, particularly when they're being raised by someone other than their biological parent, they can benefit from creative year-round scheduling. They could benefit from going to school in the morning and having it open until 6:30 in the evening. And after the traditional school day finishes, how about they get access to some coding, some financial literacy? How about access to just skill building? I'm getting ready to tell you the big one for me, homework help and tutoring. Have you seen the math today? Right? What about the parents who can't afford to hire a tutor or get homework help? Should those young people have to suffer? Or should we put those opportunities in schools throughout the school district of Philadelphia and say you can have breakfast, lunch, and even dinner while you're there? The homework's going to be done. I want you to think like a teacher. Teaching a lesson plan for the week. And I want you to know the teacher's giving instruction during the day, and then I want you to imagine the teacher knowing that somebody was reinforcing what they just taught during the day in the evening and helping young people get their homework done. That is tangible. That is how you get access to economic opportunity. Safer, cleaner, greener with economic opportunity for all. Quality of life issues, the commercial quarters, the cleaning, sanitation, we're coming. We're coming, sanitation. We are ready. So I want you all to do for me something that we've been doing in every meeting that we've traveled to across the city. particularly after the primary election. And I would tell people, I don't care where you were during the primary election, it's now time for us to unite as one Philly. One Philly. Let me hear you all. Let me hear you say one Philly. One Philly. A city united. A city united. One Philly. One Philly. A city united. A city united. After tonight, somebody you're going to call, they're not going to be excited about where you are. They're going to be what I call the expert AOPs. Have you ever met them? They're the expert articulators of problems. They're going to tell you over and over and over again just how and why all of this intergovernmental collaboration and convening of private sector and faith-based and philanthropic communities, just why it won't work. When they tell you that it won't work, I want you to listen, be patient and listen. But once they're finished, this is what I want you to say. Don't throw shade on my Philly shine. Don't throw shade on my Philly shine. We stand on the shoulders of the great ones. We're going to do what people think is impossible, and we are going to do it together. Get your resumes together. Make sure they're updated. Figure out what mayor's community council you're going to join. What board or commission are you going to attempt to use your time, talent, and treasure to help move our city forward? Building trades, SCIU, sanitation workers. Garrett Snyder, I don't see you. You must be. Greg Siegel, Dennis Zadlin. Thank you all. Now, somebody's going to write a book about who did this. Somebody's going to tell a story. Ryan Boyd, where are you? Is Mungo Sanchez here? Is the Carpenters here? Bill Sproul? Gabe? Somebody. Hey, Bill Sproul, somebody's going to talk about who did this. I need you to see the team. Sincere Ray Harris and Aaron Platt, come here. Almost, baby, almost. So, just for the record, I want you to know that these are the folks. Oprah Kanoto is here somewhere. Oh. Will Dunbar, where are you? Tanya, where are you? When there were folks who said, you are not going to be able to do this because you won't be able to raise the money. They never questioned our competence. They never questioned our ability. They never questioned any of that. The only thing they would say, and I can remember getting a call. Well, if she doesn't raise $500,000, you should tell her she's not viable and she shouldn't even think about running. And we got a call about some people we had been counting on who told us that as soon as you resign from council, we'll know you're serious. And once we know you're serious, we'll be all in. We'll help to finance you. And we'll endorse you. And when we got out, this is politics. I'm jaded, and now y'all know why, because people lie.
Tell the truth, shame the devil. Yeah.
We got your back. We got your back.
That's right.
Next thing you know, I'm looking at the television screen, and the same people that I thought were going to be endorsing me and financing me, they took the bag. I see my Lincoln University family shaking their head. They know how I feel about that. They took the bag. And O called, and he knew I was upset. He checked on me. I wasn't a cute cry. I was a snotty, ugly cry. I was crying, y'all. And O said, baby girl, why are you acting like anything in your life has been easy? Why are you acting like you surprised? Do you remember what you said? This is a what? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Stay focused, and if Congressman Dwight Evans was here, stay positive and stay focused, Cherelle. That was what we needed to do. But if we did not have the skill set in order to make it happen, Aaron Platt has been my senior advisor, and listen, the toughest time that I've ever had in my professional and personal life, and I had to deal with it publicly back in 2010, 11, and that was the DUI that folks thought that they were going to weaponize that against me. It was Aaron Platt. It was Aaron Platt who was the advisor who helped me through those difficult times. And if you all know anything about me, if you want to measure the true measure of a person, wait till you get in a foxhole together and see how they respond to the pressure when it comes. Stuck by me for a long time. He was the chief fundraiser, the communications director, he was the chief strategist, and he kept our team going, and I appreciate you, and we won't forget that, Aaron Platt. Give him a round of applause. Cherelle Harris. Said, sing and do it. I said, she gonna leave the White House to come do this? He said, we need to have the conversation. She was in a job in the prime of her life in the White House. We met, we talked. Everybody knows that the vice president, when she was a candidate for the vice presidency, you all remember when she came to my house and we had the event. And I would love to be able to tell you all it was because I was so wonderful, but it wasn't. It was because Cherelle Harris said Cherelle's backyard is going to be the spot where you come. She came, and this is what is so, I don't know, maybe God does this, right? It's something about being doubted. She was a woman running a campaign for mayor in the 6th largest city in the nation against some folks who had run some pretty big campaigns. And we went to Washington, and you know, for those of you who don't know, I'm a good soldier. That's why I know I can be a good leader, because I know how to follow the leader too. I'm a good soldier. We got into Washington, D.C. to Burrell to meet with some heavyweights, and we were trying to say we didn't have any money, and I didn't know how to say it. I didn't want to say we broke. Cherelle said, listen, dignified. Well, that is true. We're having a fundraising challenge right now, but we're running a scrappy campaign. And y'all, listen, I didn't know how to go. Yes, that's true. We're running a scrappy campaign. What I want you all to see is that none of this was done by me alone. It's not, no, I'm the candidate and I'm the vehicle. But this was the team and this was the village. This was about a connectedness of people. If you want to know how we're going to fix things in the city of Philadelphia, we're going to make sure that there is a sense of connectedness for young people, no matter where they are in our city. And listen, even adults. So building trades, they beat me up about the building trades. Ryan Boyd, where are you? They said all the building trades support Cherelle Parker and those carpenters. Bill Scroll, you all supported me. They're going to control these puppet strings. They're going to move her. She's going to do anything the building trades and the carpenters tell her to do. And the only thing I could think to myself is they didn't know Dorothy Parker. They had to reduce my vision into thinking that a powerful influence like the carpenters along with the building trades, that they couldn't agree with the shared vision of putting people on a path to self-sufficiency. So they would reduce my frame of thinking to say, she's gained their support and she's going to be their puppet. Guess what we're about to do that you've never seen before?
We about to build.
We're going to make sure children trained in the school district of Philadelphia get to learn what it means to be a laborer, a plumber, electrician, a carpenter. We're going to do that here in the city of Philadelphia. And for all the naysayers who say, well, you know, the building trades, you heard it. They have these problems. They're not transparent when it comes to race. Don't tell me about problems of the past. I'm in now. Give us an opportunity to get it together and sit at the table and fix it. Because if we work together and not as adversaries, and not us versus them, not business, you know, versus government, versus community, we need everyone to bring it together. Who is Cherelle Parker going to be? A get it done Philadelphia, a get it done mayor, who won't ever forget her deep roots, and she's proud of the fact, and I'm speaking to myself, where's that reporter? I'm speaking to myself in third person right now, and I hope it irritates you somewhere. I'm Philly born, I'm Philly bred, and I'll be a Philadelphian until I'm dead. I love